there's a ton of controversy online right now about sunscreen doing more harm than good. So I thought it would be a good time to have a realist conversation about it. Let me be clear, I am not here to be a fearmonger. I'm not here to shame anyone if you don't want to use it. This is not you must wear SPF or you're a terrible person or you're gonna die video. It's just a realistic set of pros and the cons. And by the end of the video, you should be able to make a more informed decision, whichever that may be. Full disclosure, I am someone who chooses to wear sunscreen more often than not. I have a hella sun damage right now that I'm in my 40s. We used to put baby oil on when we laid out. People would call me tanorexic, and man, am I seeing the effects of that. I've got sun spots on my arms. These things are not easy to get rid of. So yeah, now I choose to use sunscreen and try to stop further damage from happening. But I do completely understand why people are questioning it. I think there's a lot of truth to the rationale behind that school of thought. So let's talk about some of the biggest arguments that I hear and then my thoughts on them as an esthetician. Aren't the chemicals in sunscreen worse for you than sunscreen itself? People are worried about preservatives, additives, chemical absorption. Honestly, I think those concerns are legit. They shouldn't be automatically dismissed. We have to weigh those risks against the benefits realistically, because excessive UV exposure is actually very closely linked to collagen and elastin breakdown. That's where you get crepiness, wrinkles, sagging, uneven tone from sunspots, hyperpigmentation, and of course, skin cancer. So to me, the question is not, is sunscreen perfect? The question is, which set of risks is worse? That answer might look different for different people. So someone with darker skin, no family history of melanoma, no pigmentation issues, and parents whose skin looked great well into their 90s might not be worried about wrinkles and sunspots or skin cancer. But someone like me, who's already seeing signs of aging, is more worried about wrinkles, age spots, and melanoma than I am about a few preservatives. I do still occasionally drink Diet Coke and eat hot dogs, more than occasionally. So my body is already not a temple, but everything is okay in moderation. So I'm not putting sunscreen on for the days I'm inside all day. And when I do reach for a product, I look for one that's cleaner in all mineral sunscreen if I can. Mineral sunscreens do contain other ingredients because zinc oxide by itself would apply horribly, spread unevenly, and get contaminated with bacteria or mold super quickly. But you can absolutely find formulas with fewer additives that work well with your skin. My advice, assess your situation. If you're worried about wrinkles, sunspots, melasma, or have a family history of skin cancer, you need to ask yourself if those things pose a higher risk than the chemicals in the sunscreen. But the sun is so good for you. Why would I block it? Honestly, I totally agree with this one too. I love running in the sunshine. I love the beach. I genuinely feel like a wilting flower when I don't get enough sun. Sunlight is healthy. Your mood benefits from it. You get vitamin D. But the reality is you only really need roughly 10 to 20 minutes of that sun exposure to get those benefits. Once your skin starts turning pink or tanning excessively, you've already crossed into skin damage territory. If you want to go sit outside for 15 minutes and then hide indoors like a vampire for the rest of the day, that's great. Do that. But realistically, most days, that's just not possible. We sit on patios, we go on walks, we spend time outside on boats, we drive. People forget that UV rays come right through the car windows. If you don't believe me, go look at the arm and face of a mail carrier or a truck driver, okay? One side often has noticeably more wrinkles and sun damage. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that even if you're wearing broad spectrum SPF 80, you're still receiving some sunlight exposure and you're still capable of producing that vitamin D. So in my opinion, moderation is key. I know that's boring, but it's the truth. Figure out a way you can get exposure without it being excessive. Personally, if it's between 10 a.m., 4 p.m., and I know I'm going to be outside for more than 20 minutes, I pop on sunscreen. If it's like 7 p.m. and I'm going for a short walk, I might not reapply. Number 3, I hate sunscreen. It feels gross. It breaks me out. Breakouts can be just as depressing as wrinkles and sunspots. A lot of sunscreens are greasy. Some pill under your makeup, some sting your eyes, some break you out. And I think that's where people get overwhelmed and then just give up entirely. Honestly, I don't think the answer is just wear nothing. There are more sunscreen options nowadays than there are Starbucks drink combinations, okay? So try a bunch. You'll find one you like. The one I use is Color Science, basically a makeup line. It has mineral sunscreen in it. By doubling as my makeup, I am more motivated to just apply it in the morning. It's part of my process. They also make a powder brush, which are amazing for reapplication and then using in the hairline. I also love Isden Airy Fotona. I use that one on my kids because it's all mineral, it rubs in quickly, and it contains DNA repair enzymes that help stop precancerous cells from forming. So it helps offset the fact that they live on Starbucks and crumble, and it makes me feel like a good mom, at least for a minute out of the day. So my advice is don't deny it, try it. All right, I have dark skin. I don't burn. So I don't really need SPF. All right, this is a huge misconception. UVB rays are the burning rays that affect the surface of your skin. UVA rays are the aging rays that penetrate deeper and break down collagen and elastin over time. So just because you have darker skin that doesn't burn, you can still absolutely experience long-term sun damage. So SPF isn't just about preventing burns, it's about preserving the skin quality long-term. Keep in mind, UVA damage often doesn't show up immediately. It shows up years later. It's sneaky like that. Once you see it, it's too late. And then even thousands of dollars spent on lasers and skincare will never reverse it completely. But, okay, now I sound like a fearmonger. I wasn't here to do that. There is some truth to the fact that darker skin tones do have more natural protection from the sun. If getting tan is the body's immune response to the sun exposure, then starting with darker skin is like having an extremely strong immune system to begin with. So going back to only needing 15 minutes or so of sunlight to receive the benefits, the darker your skin is, the longer you can withstand that direct exposure without getting as much damage. My advice, assess your skin tone, know how long you'll be outside, and then make a decision from there. If sunscreen doesn't block 100% of the sun, why even bother? No sunscreen blocks 100% of the UV rays. Here's an important nuance to understand. SPF 15 blocks about 93% of the UVB rays. SPF 30 blocks about 97%. SPF 50 blocks about 98%. So yes, higher SPFs technically provide more protection, but the difference becomes smaller and smaller the higher you go. A glass half empty person might say, well, sunscreen doesn't guarantee perfection. Why bother? But a glass half full person might say, wow, even an SPF 15 is still blocking like the majority of UVB exposure. Honestly, in my opinion, an SPF 15 to 30 you generally love and wear daily is going to do the bulk of what you need it to do. And personally, I believe some protection is better than none at all. To me, SPF is less about the fear and more about reasonable risk reduction. I think that's the nuance that gets lost online sometimes. Everything turns into these extremes. Either sunscreen is a toxic conspiracy theory and you should bake yourself like a rotisserie chicken, or you're told you need military-grade UV protection to walk your dogs for 6 minutes. Reality is probably somewhere in the middle. You can acknowledge that sunlight has benefits. You can enjoy being outside. You can live your life normally. You can also recognize that repeated UV exposure over decades probably contributes to skin aging and skin cancer risks for a lot of people. Those things can both be true at the same time. That's kind of how I personally look at sunscreen. I've incorporated SPF into my routine by making it part of my makeup. That way I'm motivated to apply it and reapply it. I think if you can find an SPF that benefits you in more ways than one, whether it's got anti-aging benefits, it's got pigment protection, or your makeup is built in, you're more actually likely to use it because you enjoy it instead of treating it like a chore. I think people should understand the pros, the cons, the risks, the benefits, and then make an informed decision that fits your own lifestyle and your own health goals. So, good luck. If you like my information, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for listening.